Howdy folks, Capt Wayne Davis here in Port Mansfield, Texas with Larry Higgins, Captain Chris Elliott, Bobby Walker. We're going out. It's early December. I want to talk a little bit about what's happened the last, say, 7 to 10 days. We've had 3 cold fronts in Port Mansfield. The last one dropped the water temperatures down to 58 degrees. During that time, you could see the trout, we were actually catching some trout, transition to potholes surrounded by real thick grass. So you were having to work your lure real slow through those potholes at when the water was 58, 59 degrees, and they were just picking it up. Well, now we are at 74.8 degrees. It's transitioned almost 15, 16 degrees in the last 7 days. Up until about 2 days ago, they were still kind of hanging in the potholes, but the bigger trout started filtering out. During the time we were catching some nice trout, no kicker trout, so to speak, 8s or 9s, but some really big 5s and 6s, and a little bit bigger than 6 pounds in the potholes. We were working the Wiggler real slow through there. So now those big fish have filtered out from the potholes, and now they're just kind of scattered up on the sand and the grass, and they're just doing different things right now. So it's kind of neat to see this transition take place from 58-degree water temperature to 75-degree water temperature and watch those fish move. The next cold snap, probably they're going to go back to those big potholes and sit there and wait for your lure to come through. Now we've moved into chunking topwaters early in the morning. We've been throwing the Mansfield knockers. Been a pretty good bait. It's got a lot of castability to it. We're all kind of field testing these. We're working through some hooks. Different single drop hooks. I got a single drop hook back there on my Nervous Mullet Mansfield knocker, and these have trouble. So because we have a lot of grass floating when the wind kicks up, so we're going to work through these Mansfield knockers this morning, transition into some soft plastics. Larry, how long has it been since you've been here?
Last time I was here was our media event, early October.
Yeah, so a lot has changed since then, and it's been pretty neat to see it unfold the way that it has. So we're staying on top of these fish. We're trying to keep up with them, basically.
How's it been? You know, we were all here right after the freeze last year. What you're seeing with the trout, it's better than expected?
Better than expected, right? So here's the thing with the trout. There's pockets of trout, right? There's pockets of trout. I don't think this is a widespread big trout comeback, in my opinion. I think there's pockets of trout, and when you find the pockets of trout, you fish them, right? And you catch them, and it seems like a great day, and it is a great day. But then you could move 300, 500, 700 yards, a mile away, and you may not get any trout. So I actually ran over a school of trout the other day, which I found shocking. But then after the school of trout I ran over, didn't see very many for a long ways. So isolated pockets of trout, some nice ones, you know, like we've had one over 6.5 pounds so far this year, and haven't seen any real big ones. But trout are starting to filter back in, but a lot of 2s and 3s and just nice, healthy, chunky fish for the most part, which is good. Again, not a widespread trout comeback, but isolated pockets. And I'm hearing the same reports, you know, from Baffin. Captain Chris can talk about that later, about how they've got pockets of trout up there too. Redfish have been strong. It's unbelievable, actually. It's saving everybody's tail. Redfish bite. It's been pretty good. And some flounder. We're getting some nice flounder. A lot of little flounder. So can't keep them though currently. But anyway, so we're going to go out and give it a go. We've had calm winds the last 7 days for the most part. Now the wind's kicking up. These guys show up, and the winds are going to be cranking today. So we're going to start shallow and end up working some grass lines and some ledges and some different things like that. So we should have a good bite. redfish have filtered out from the potholes, and now they're just kind of scattered up on the sand and the grass, and they're just doing different things right now. So it's kind of neat to see this transition take place from 58-degree water temperature to 75-degree water temperature and watch those fish move. Well, there you go. So we're out here fishing these rafts of mullet. We need 2 redfish for dinner. We're gonna have to fry some of these redfish tonight. We haven't got any nice trout yet, but we will. So we're catching them on the Mansfield knockers this morning. We're gonna switch over to plastics here in a little bit. As you can see, they're coming up from behind, hitting these things, field testing these single drop hooks. And we got Chris's on again.
The same thing. I drug it over a big raft of mullet, and you saw this fish hump up and followed it out of that mullet before he hit it. But you could see him waking behind it. There's giant rafts of mullet in here, and these redfish are just hanging with them. Yeah, we're throwing this new Mansfield knocker. I'm throwing it with the G2 FTU green rod. I'm throwing the classic just because I do plan on switching back to a soft plastic here in a little bit. But for these medium-sized topwaters, this classic rod is awesome. Don't have to work it very hard. Plenty of backbone to set the hook on these fish. With us.
So what we're having to do now, we've got transitioned off these topwaters, and we have real clear water and some nice potholes and big rafts of mullet. So what we've done, we've transitioned to the 4-inch paddle tail and the salt and pepper with a chartreuse tail. Field testing it right now, and as you can see, it's working pretty good with these reds. The water is super clear, so the salt and pepper is perfect bait for the water. But there it is right there, salt and pepper, chartreuse tail. I have it rigged on a 3/32 2-aught black nickel hook. As you can see right there, we're knee-deep water, fishing it pretty slow. Want to keep it out of the grass. Yesterday I was throwing a 16th, but today we're just a little deeper than I was yesterday, so I went to that 3/32 style. Have it rigged right here, matches perfectly with this 4-inch paddle tail. Anyway, it's working good. So we're hoping to get on some trout here in a little bit, but in the meantime, we're catching some big old redfish. We're fishing these rafts of mullet, and there are just some monster redfish in here. Water temperature is about 74 degrees. And these fish are active. Real nice red. Hit that salt and pepper. Kind of a newer color for us. Working today. So what we're doing, we're out here in this knee-deep stuff, and Captain Chris is throwing an 1/8 ounce, and we need to downsize. We're going to a 3/32. Explain what's happening.
The eighth is working, but there's a lot of areas in here. The turtle grass is real thick. I'm just having to, it's falling a little too quick. I'm having to speed up my retrieve faster than I really want to. Luckily, Captain Wayne was a little more prepared on this weight than I was, and he had a 3/32 I can steal from him. Minor changes. Not changing a bait, just slightly changing the weight of the jig head can make all the difference. I think he hit it like a good one. I think he got some weight. Hailed it. All right, just changed jig heads. Went from an 1/8 ounce to a 3/32. Took about 2 casts into the same spot I was throwing that 1/8. Little minor changes like that. Look at that fish though. Just needed something that fell just a little slower. We got another one.
This 3/32 has really been a game changer today. I mean, big time. Chris was throwing an 8. Just the fall rate was too fast and got into that grass, and you needed a 3/32. Probably could get away with a 1/16 just to flutter these wiggelos and these 4-inch paddle tails right above the turtle grass. Just tickle the top of those grass blades and let it fall in those potholes, and these fish are slamming it. You can't even see the lure. We got another one on over there. I've got another redfish. Since we're having redfish tonight for dinner, I've got one on my boga grip. I found this one the other day walking down the shoreline, so I'm using it as a backup. But you can't even. That's Smoke and Mirrors Wiggle-O. It looks like a mullet cruising along. This is about my 3rd or 4th redfish on this Wiggle-O. It is tore up, no question about it, but it's still good for another couple of fish. Chris is on. He's throwing Laguna Flage. Since we have really natural baits on, it's more effective today because the water's just crystal clear, as you can see. But these fish are just big old fish in here. Let that one go. Good to go.
Well, it's perfect. Like Wayne was saying, we switched to this 3/32. I'll show you. Like I said, I was throwing the 1/8 earlier. When you switch to this 3/32 with this Wiggle-O, it'll fall and it'll hit the top of the grass, but it won't bury itself into it. So you can slow your retrieve down quite a bit and just let it bounce on the top of all this turtle grass that's in here, and you won't really hang up in it. Matches up perfect with that Wiggle-O. These fish are absolutely crushing it. Nope.
All right, folks, we're winding down today out on the water. It's December. You know, we talked earlier today about this water temperature fluctuation from 58. Well, today it ended at 78. So within a week, we had a 20-degree swing in our water temperatures. We've also had the water increase like crazy, the tide, the rise in the water. So that kind of set us up to having to shift gears. Something that, you know, we were on a pattern. We were catching some nice trout. They were in the potholes. We talked about it earlier. But today, water rose. The little shelves got flooded with water. The bait went there for that reason, and the fish were there. The redfish were there. So we made a day out of catching some really nice redfish, a couple trout. But that's what happened, didn't it?
Yeah. But you were talking about, you know, when the water was cooler, you were catching them in the potholes. Today almost seemed like the opposite. Fishing areas that were mostly sand.
Yeah. So we tried to figure out, obviously we knew there was a ton of mullet in a location. We could see it. The rafts were there, but why was it there? Water level rose at least 6 to 8 inches in the last 3 or 4 days. Water temperature rose 20 degrees in a week. And the mullet all schooled up together, and it pushed up on these little humps and these little flats. That's what I think happened, and the fish were there, the redfish were there, humongous reds. all upper slot. You know, we made a day out of it. That's what we did. So
Productive day.
top waters and soft plastics, we really did good. We had a couple flounder too, but that's what unfolded today. Strong southeast wind. We knew that going into it, and we made the most of what we could make out of it.